after dark.
Mr. President, did you see that Redskins game last night?
Yeah, I really enjoyed the game last night. RG3 played his heart out.
Mr. President, our economy has been in a recession for over 6 months now. I think it's time for us to do something.
What is this recession you guys speak of?
Well, sir, unemployment's already over 13% now, and it's not going down anytime soon.
Well, what are our options?
Well, I think that expansionary monetary policy would be the best thing.
Are you kidding me? You and Milton Friedman can take your monetary policy and flush it down the toilet. At this point, the best option is expansionary fiscal policy. That'll turn it around pretty quickly.
You know, I haven't taken a course in economics in a long time. I could use a refresher on these policies.
Excuse me, sir, but the President of the United States, you don't know what monetary or fiscal policy is?
You know, I've been preoccupied by other issues such as the Afghanistan war and the Iraq war, so, you know, you guys should help me out.
So do you want to, explain them to you then?
Yeah, of course.
Well, to put it simply, we could increase government spending on roads and other public projects, or we could just cut taxes.
And how does that help?
Well, both would cause an increase in spending. That would cause an increase in the aggregate demand of the economy, thus increasing the real output of the economy. And in order to fill that higher output, firms will have to hire more workers.
You know, that actually sounds like it might work.
Yeah, and trust me, if it does, they'll definitely be re-elected next year.
You're forgetting about crowding out.
He doesn't need to know about that. Anyway, the probability of that happening is extremely low.
Even if it is, do you really think the people would be fine with government going in and putting all of this country into even more debt just to see no improvement in the economy? There would be riots everywhere.
You know, I feel like I'm missing something here. You know, like, how does this crowding out work? And does it inhibit growth in the economy?
Well, you know how I told you how increasing government expenditures would have an overall boost in the economy and increase aggregate demand?
Yeah, it seemed like a pretty solid plan to me.
Well, have you ever thought about where the government gets this money to spend? They actually have to borrow the money, which causes an increase in the demand for loan funds.
I mean, that doesn't sound like an issue to me.
Oh yeah, don't worry, there's nothing to worry about. Pretty much foolproof.
That's where you're wrong. You're only fooling yourself if you believe that. The increase in the demand for loanable funds would cause interest rates here in the United States to skyrocket. Since investment spending is highly dependent on interest rates, the big increase in interest rates would cause investment spending to plummet.
I mean, how does this impact the economy?
Wow! It would bring down the aggregate demand of the economy perhaps enough to cancel out the increase caused by the government spending.
I mean, that wouldn't be good. Brandon, did you say something about cutting taxes to increasing the spending?
Yes I did, sir. That'll probably just be another good fiscal policy in this situation.
And how does that work?
Basically, it'll put more money in the pockets of our consumers here in America. As they spend that extra money, they'll increase the demand and the aggregate demand of the economy, and unemployment will go down.
Once again, you're not telling them the full effect of that policy.
What do you mean?
Well, there's no guarantee that people are actually going to spend the extra money, especially how the economy is at this moment. There's a more likely chance that they'll just save it for a rainy day.
So if they don't spend the money, there's not going to be an increase in aggregate demand, and unemployment will be rising again.
That's correct, sir.
Well, Miss Chairwoman, Miss Know-It-All, what do you think we should do then?
Well, like I said, monetary policy would smooth this recession over in no time.
I should probably know what monetary policy is.
What she's trying to say is that we should increase the money supply, which will cause an increase in the investment spending as a result of the decrease in interest rates.
I mean, it all sounds good, but how does that increase the money supply?
The easiest and best way would just be to have the Fed buy bonds off the open market. This would cause more money to be in the economy and interest rates would decrease.
But monetary policy has never been used for such large-scale economic improvement. It's normally just for the small adjustments.
There's always a first.
This isn't really the time to try out new policies in the economy. We should just stick with what we know.
Well, all we've done in the past is put $17 trillion in debt.
What is this debt you speak of?
It's the total of all our deficits that the government has racked up as a result of spending more than the revenue brought in by taxes.
If we hadn't done this deficit spending, we'd still be in the Great Depression, and there's no way monetary policy could have gotten us out of that one.
Mr. President, I think it's time to make a decision.
After much consideration, it has come to our attention that action needs to be taken to counteract the current economic recession. We have decided to use a mixture of fiscal and monetary policy. We will be cutting taxes for the next 6 months, and we will be purchasing government bonds from banks at a higher price. Thank you, and together we will make it through this tough time.